Hey everybody, and welcome back to X's4 Podcast. This is the Daily X, where we bring you news and discussions about your favorite Marvel comics, most notably the X-Men. I'm Nico, and you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at NicoAction. That's NicoAction. Now, we're here to discuss the fourth part of the Hellfire Gala. This is going to be the Excalibur issue by Tini Howard, which sees a lot of transfer happening, knowing that it's just a matter of time before Rogue leaves for the X-Men and where that leaves Gambit. Of course, there's all of the things going on with the Braddocks, not to mention a little drama for my poor Pete Wisdom. This was a crazy issue with a lot of amazing surprises. Josh, Arturo, and Blake kill it on the discussion. We hope you guys enjoy it as much as we enjoyed making it, and if you liked it, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more amazing Daily X material. Talk to you guys soon.
Welcome back to X is for Podcast. This week, we're talking about Excalibur 21, written by Tini Howard, with art by Marcus Toe, colors by Eric Arciniega, and letters by friend of the show, VC's Ariana Marr. It's prom night, and our Lighthouse fam have the most fabulous dates, whether they all know it or not. Meanwhile, the Boris Johnsons are Boris Johnsoning and trying to incite a Brexcalibur, but a certain emo druid in need of antidepressants has thoughts of his own. And, oh yeah, Rachel is the best. It's Chapter 4 of the Hellfire Gala in Excalibur 21. And with me to discuss are...
I'm Blake. You can find me on Twitter at Blake's Buzz, and you can check out my blog at blakesbuzz.com.
And I'm Arturo. You already know you can find me at Mr. Toybox on Twitter and Instagram.
And I'm Josh Wheel. As always, you can find me at Asleep at the Wheel, WEIL, and asleepatthewheel.com. And for the next 2 years as the Progressive Democrat running for U.S. Senate in the state of Florida, you can find me across social media at Wheel, the number 4 U.S. Senate, and joshwheel.org. So, Excalibur 21, we are 4 chapters into the Hellfire Gala, which is starting to really take shape. One of the interesting things, and I think I'd like to start off talking just about the gala as a whole. The first chapter was the Marauders issue, which did a phenomenal job of setting up. And through the 6 chapters that we've gotten to read, I think was definitely the most impactful and serving of the stories. But what we're seeing here now, and we can really tell with half of this event released, essentially, 6 out of 13 chapters, is that this is not, I keep saying chapters, but this is not like Messiah Complex or X of Swords, where it's sequential chapters, like where we're telling a story and it's Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. I mean, don't forget, we saw the end of this in the first chapter in Marauders.
Right.
Like, it just left some gaps and we didn't see all the characters. And what we're getting is we're getting little chunks of time filled in with important characters as we go. But really, this is more of an event than a crossover. This is an event in the sense that, like, every character is coming to the gala and they're just carrying on their stories. Hellions continued on their character dynamics and stories. Excalibur here is continuing on what was going on with Planakaba in the background, what's going on with Rictor, Pete Wisdom. We're just seeing these stories continue, and they happen to be continuing at a very fancy dance party.
It's really cool. It's like we're getting little pieces of the puzzle. I like that they're using timestamps to kind of help you order everything. Shout out to, I'm not even sure who it is on X Twitter. Somebody's keeping like an Excel sheet with like the timestamps.
Oh, I need that.
Oh, really?
I need that.
Yeah, so you can see like at 7:40 p.m. like Logan did this or Quentin Quire did that or whatever it is, piecing it all together.
I am constantly flipping through the timestamps in the single issues, but I have been admittedly lazy to not go back to previous issues. Like, I wanted to. Like, I've been like, oh, I should really go open up Hellions and see what time this was. But that's across the room. That's a lot of work.
Somebody's doing the work, and we gotta find that sheet and retweet it. But it's helpful, and I think it's a really cool way of tackling this event because I think every book is just getting one issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So it's perfect.
13 books. Well, 12 books getting one issue each and Planet Size in the middle.
It's great. It's like the event is this like nexus point where everybody's passing through it, but you don't have to be, terribly worried about what's going on on in Terra Verde when you're in the Excalibur book. Like that's just like part of the cocktail party that you're not in during this book. So I think it's a really neat way to tackle an event.
Yeah, it's every issue is a little bit more of the curtains pulled back, and we get like a wider gaze at the entirety of it, which is cool. I just want to see these damn fireworks, man. Like, they keep talking about these fireworks, and like, I'm assuming they're waiting for the planet-sized issue. Is I'm thinking that's when we'll get to see it,
or the finale. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they'll make us wait till the end. But yeah,
I'm not sure we're gonna see him. I think it might just keep being like a MacGuffin, like something we don't see. But...
Oh, I would not.
It might be that. Yeah, I've already seen people. I've already seen people complaining about it. Like, if I have to hear about the fireworks one more time, it's like, yeah, buddy, you're probably gonna have to hear about them like 5 more times.
I'm gonna guess 7 more times because we have 7 issues left. But
it's cool though. It's cool that they have like these little anchor points like the fireworks that you'll see in all of the issues basically.
Well, we got a little sneak in X-Men and this. I think this issue, it looked like King Jamie was involved in something.
Yes, yeah, King Jamie on another planet, which we've all been saying Mars, but they may be terraforming a whole new chunk of space. Who knows? It might be planet Krakoa. They might be growing Krakoa out in space.
Now that is something I would imagine that we're going to hear in Planet Size X-Men.
Yes.
And I think we're going to find out about the mysterious planet in Planet Sized X-Men. I don't think I'm going too big brain there, putting those pieces together.
Rictor, can we just like take a beat and talk about Rictor? Guys, I love Rictor so much as a character, but this was like painful for me, like seeing him characterized like this, and it felt really forced. Like Rictor hasn't been moping since X of Swords. It's not like he's just been trapped like in this horrible vibe, which would have sucked. I'm glad he hasn't been like that. But the fact...
Do you remember where we first found him in Excalibur 1 or 2?
Yes, I do. And he was
hiding in a box of dirt.
Right.
And Big A had to come and pull him out and help him find purpose again.
Yeah, I remember that.
And now Big A's gone.
Right, but I feel like I feel like Rictor has grown through Excalibur, and then I felt like for this issue, for the purpose of this story, and simply because Tinny refused to make this very simple, straightforward, happily ever after, she wants to like make us work for it, and relationships are messy and etc. But like I feel like he was regressed in this way, that he was just super emo, and it really did not, it just bothered me.
I have him written down as emo. I think I introduced him as
you did. I latched onto that. You absolutely
as an emo druid in need of antidepressants.
Yeah. I felt that I felt his piss babiness was forced as well. I was just like everybody's so excited about the gala, and then like this issue starts, and he's like, but Apocalypse is gone, and he was gone like 8 issues ago. But not
maybe if you guys gave a shit, but
So I'm gonna I know I'm never contrarian to anyone on these episodes, but I'm going to disagree here. And I mean, yes, he was very moody, but as someone, I mean, who is vocal about having struggled with depression and being on antidepressants now, like I totally understand the like if you're in neutral to low space and then everyone else is like perking up, getting higher, that it just makes you kind of float lower. Like you just go in the opposite direction. Like one of the things about depression is that you don't kind of rise with everyone else. Like you almost feel more dissociated. You feel further off. Like, why am I? Everyone else is happy, and why aren't I? Like this is it. Like big happy events like this almost make it worse. And so,
okay, I can see
for
that.
I feel that
been dealing with some of these things, I understood. Like it's not how I like to see him, but I mean, look, when it happens to me, it's not how I like to see me. So, I got it, and I like that. Skipping ahead 20 pages, like I like that he was able to, like Arturo said, he has grown and developed so much in this, but that doesn't mean that he gives himself credit for it or necessarily, feels better. It doesn't mean that it's, cured his mental or emotional issues. And, the fact that he was able to step up and do that, and that helped him get to a better place at the end.
This
That
is
helps.
why I love sitting around talking comics with you guys, because it always kind of offers a different perspective. And I hear everything you're saying. You know, I didn't like it, but like you just said, I also recognize this aspect in my own personality and character sometimes. And you're damn right. Like when there is a big party or a festivity or whatever, and I'm not feeling it, like my social anxiety goes like through the roof, and I'm, so yeah, I get all of that, but it wasn't easy to read. And
No.
spoiler alert, but a couple pages in, we see my beloved Shatterstar, who, I've just been walking on air and also very upset. Obviously, we were all on the record talking about the canceling of X Factor.
Still not over that.
Still not over that. I'll never be over that. Hashtag save X Factor. It's very homophobic. Yeah, I hate that, but I've been wanting them to reunite since literally the first issue of House of X. Like, they're just a ship that I love, that means so much to me, and I'd want them to be together. And in the world of, like, comic relationships or whatever, I fully acknowledge that sometimes, like, just marrying off two characters is like the most boring thing you can do, i.e. North Star and Kyle, i.e. Gambit and Rogue, which we're about to get into as well in
How
this
dare
issue.
you? I love them so much in this.
I love that they're married. I love that they're happy, but it just kind of like changes things. So I don't want like
He
Rictor
is
and
such a
Shatterstar
good.
to
He
like
is such a
get
good
married.
house husband, kept man, whipped bitch.
Oh
I
my
love
God,
it
we'll
so
get
much.
into it. We'll get into it. We'll get into Gambit. We're not there yet. Hold on.
We have to deal with Shatterstar.
I
first.
want Shatterstar and Rictor to be happy. I don't want them to be like a boring married couple. So I appreciate that Tinny's like, listen, relationships are messy, breakups are messy. You can still love your ex, but there's a lot of feelings there. But the way that this was characterized, it feels to me like Shatterstar is being punished, like he's done something wrong, or like he had abandoned Rictor, and it just felt so unfair, and it felt so like it was such an unsatisfying feeling to finally, like, when I saw that hand reaching for Richter, I was like, oh my God, here it goes, here we go, we're gonna see
Oh yeah, we knew
Shatterstar.
exactly who that hand was.
And then you turn the page, and it's hilarious because in the panel, Tinny is talking to Sync, and she has this like look at her face. She's like looking at Richter and Shatterstar together.
Let's
And
stop for a moment and love all of the cameos in the
I
background
love the cameos.
of real people in the Hellfire Gala.
I love the cameos, and I'm sorry if they're bothering you. Like, get the stick out of your ass. They're not doing anything. It's a fun little thing. The creatives are having fun with it. It's cute. Like, people get so bent out of shape about that, or like the Kevin Feige, cameo. Like, it's fine, guys. They're having fun. It's
The
not a big
weird
deal.
thing about the Kevin Feige cameo was that like Cyclops was talking to him for like 8 pages.
The weird thing about it is the weird thing about it is it felt like they were hitting on each other. That's the weird thing about it nobody's talking about. But there was definitely some chemistry between Kevin and Scott. But anyways, you see Tinny on panel, and she's just looking at them, and it just looks like she's thinking, oh yes, I'm not going to make this easy for you guys. And she's not going to make it easy for them.
Happy that she finally put them together.
But motherfucker, listen, Shatterstar shows up covered in blood. Like, and that's your response to him? That's your response to him? Not like, are you okay? I mean, I get the what the fuck are you thinking? But like, they were so shitty to him. Yeah, what are your notes?
Shatterstar did a stupid, which is really just another way of saying he did a Shatterstar.
Yeah, and you know what? One of my friends on X Twitter, shout out Scott, gave me an interpretation of this, that Shatterstar as like neurodivergent, and being like a little coded as like on the spectrum or whatever. And
he is, absolutely.
And I love that. Like, I love that read. And yeah, I mean, Shatterstar not having any social cues and being like very
that
weird and
comboed bad
awkward.
with what I said. Let me just say real quick. When I said Shatterstar doing a stupid, and then we start talking about his neurodivergent, those are disconnected. Like, Shatterstar is also a himbo. Shatterstar does these kind of, he has these like Alex Summers moments of like, huh? Which are, he gets to play off as adorable because he just happens to, he's like Jason Momoa, where he's allergic to shirts, and so he can never actually wear shirts. So there's that, right? And yes, he has also at times been coded and written as being neurodivergent, or
or
a
just
little
being
spectrum.
clueless. Like he's
Yes,
just it's almost like a
he
like
doesn't
the concept of like foreign
see things the
language
same.
taken to an extreme. Like he's like about as foreign as it gets, right? Like so earthways can be a little confusing to him and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
My issue with that interaction is the feeling of disconnect between X titles. So like I'm officially caught up now. Like I was about 15 issues behind with the blog and everything going on. And so like I kind of fell behind, and I would get caught up like weekly depending on where Nico put me in the rooms. And so the last weekend and this weekend, I got all caught up with the ready gala ready, and I'm totally the X Factor's so good, and that hurt. Like I read like 4 issues of that, like 6 through 9 or 10 or whatever it was, and yeah, just every issue was like breaking my heart because I was like, oh, this is so good, and it's leaving. But like this whole deal of like getting Shatterstar out of the Mojo verse and bringing him back, and like it was this whole ordeal, and then he shows up at the gala and to this kind of like malcontent, like they're like, what are you doing here? And I was just like, it just sometimes it feels like the X books don't talk to each other as much as they should. And that was my issue with kind of that interaction.
Right. It felt like it felt like in X Factor, they had set something up, the whole thing with like the heartstrings and Julio, my love. And like you felt like, oh my God, we're at the precipice of like they're finally getting back together and it's going to be this beautiful, star-crossed lovers. See what I did there? Shatterstar-crossed lovers. And it wasn't. And I get that Tinny's going to make us work for it. I hope and pray that like we get to a place where they're going to just be together and fun boyfriends saving the world and all
I mean,
that.
I think
But
the end of the issue was a really high point, and
for sure,
yeah, I mean, like
that
it
read
totally
to me.
saved it. It was,
Yeah.
and that was really that was actually really touching and beautiful and very well done.
And the art really saved it there because like the
Yeah.
dialogue is like pretty chill, but just seeing Richter like resting his head on Shatterstar, that to
Mhm.
me was
so
like,
cute.
okay, I feel that. Like I feel that. Like that's the X that you still love, but like you guys have some shit and yeah.
Okay,
I
so
really loved the line. He's like, "Let me show you this beach I just made." I was like, "Yes!"
That
Like,
was so good.
this is so
That
good.
was
okay,
so
It
so
good.
was good.
Richter had amazing moments, and we'll get to that a little bit. I want to kind of move on from Richter and Shatterstar. The one last,
I
just
never
purely
will.
Richter comment is about his Hellfire Gala. So outfit. So
About Richter's outfit?
I like the cloak. Like when we see him just like with the cloak and it has that druidness in the earth, it's cool. But whenever he takes the hood down, he looks like the fucking Riddler.
Yeah.
I just
Talk about it.
can't. I can't, like
Speak on it.
it took me out, like it took me out of the comic a couple times because the to me my druid scene, or some of these where he's got this like mask on and the green suit and he's like and it's just like he looks like a cheesy Batman,
Look,
like a DC villain.
hold on. We're gonna
can't.
can we just talk about that? Just like I know that it's not like the sequential order of things, but now that we've talked about the druidness of it all, oh God. Okay, here's my thing with the whole druid thing. We have a whole other dimension, right? We've got Otherworld, we've got Avalon, we've got a whole other place where you could do a ton of fun shit with the druids, and I wouldn't even blink. But the fact that Richter calls upon the druids and they just like show up, like the fact that that only happened in one page and he gets his, King of the Druids shillelagh, and I love the word shillelagh, that just felt so corny and forced and too fast for me to give a shit. You know what I mean?
He's got some
Too
he's got
fast,
some
too
big
furious,
mole man
in a
energy.
Too
sense.
fast, too furious. Yes.
He's got some big mole man energy, like standing there looking all short,
Big
like,
mole
screaming,
man
like,
energy.
"For me!" And they come out of the
Yes.
ground.
Right. And you know what? When the mole man shows up with a bunch of monsters, I don't think about the monsters' personalities and what's driving their character and their motivations. No, I just see them as monsters. But when you have like a civilization of bearded druids showing up out of the earth, it's kind of like, well, what, like, I'd rather not see a group of those. I'd rather like have a character or 2 from the druid race developed, right? And I'd like to see them maybe like, I don't know, watching from the shadows or something, not just like show up en masse, declare you king, and then just disappear immediately
Too
after. Like,
much
what the
happened
fuck?
outside
Too
of the
much
gala
happened
in
in
this
one
issue.
page. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
Agreed.
Agreed.
'Cause even like, so the only other issue I can really compare this one to in regards of like structure and outside influences other than the gala was X-Force. But I mean, X-Force still made sense because the things that happened in X-Force happened within the gala in the moment. And this, we spent almost as much time outside of the gala as within the gala in Excalibur. And we've got the LaFay stuff and the Rictor stuff, and it was just like a lot happened in an event comic that did not have anything to do with the event and didn't get the page time it deserved or
No.
the build up or anything. And I
Yeah.
was like, why are we running and gunning so fast here? Like,
This is
Right.
very much the issue 21 plotting, the story we would have gotten if there was no Hellfire Gala.
yeah.
Like, what would have happened in the next chapter of Excalibur, right? And we would have seen the Britons sacrificing Pete Wisdom to open the portal and resuscitate Morgana Le Fay, and them trying to strike off and, reclaim the lighthouse. And so Druid King has to step up and make his own island, and all the Clan Akaba kind of becoming legitimate powers in Britain. Like, this is the next big progression. It all just then, it felt like this script was written and then it got adjusted into a Hellfire Gala. And most of it seemed in together pretty nice, but it did not leave enough pages for Rictor becoming the Mole Man.
Yeah. Look, you know what? And I get that we're in Excalibur. I get, I've been reading it since the first issue. I get it that there's magic and this is that book, right? But in the Krakoan era, we have this whole other thing called mutant magic and the circuits, right? Like combining powers. Like I would have much rather have seen Richter team up with Petra, Magma, throw Black Tom in there if you want, Avalanche. Like, get me a couple of like Earthbenders together and let them do a circuit to create this. You know what I mean? Like, that would have felt so much more in universe and relevant. And I would have just enjoyed that so much more than pulling out, a dozen of these like nameless druids out to name Richter king, and then they all just disappear. Like, it just
Here's
didn't
your
make
stick.
sense. That's that was the worst part, is that from one panel to the next, they're gone. And like Richter and Shatterstar are going to the beach, and it's like, I love that for them. That's great.
Those
But
last
where
two
the fuck
panels
did
are
the druids
beautiful.
go?
Let me show you the beach I made, and putting his head on his shoulder.
Loved
the
it.
last two panels are a beautiful way to end the story.
Yeah, and that would have made a lot more sense if you're walking away from Avalanche, Petra, and Black Tom, not if you're walking away from your new kingdom of druids. It's so weird. And it's like, and again, like I said, if we were in Otherworld and Richter became king of the druids, give it to me. 1,000%. Let's do it. But here, it just felt so dumb.
Also, the data page after all that, like this ended on a data page, I believe, and it talks about the new lighthouse island, and we get this really great moment where he's like, "Let me show you this beach I made." Christ, let me show you this beach I made. And the data page comes in, and the last line of the data page is like, "Oh, but on low tides, you can still access the island by land." And I was like, wow, way to throw like Richter's powers just right under the bus.
Yeah,
Like,
I didn't like that last. That felt kind of like,
took a big old shit on the island you made.
I was like,
what the fuck? That's not really an island.
Yeah, I'm like, how many blocks
There's a
away
land
are
bridge.
you?
It's just a peninsula.
Yeah. It's down here in Miami, that's called a sandbar. When you could like walk out to the sandbar. That's exactly what the fuck this is. It just, yeah.
But so you made a really good point about mutant magic and the circuits. And, we've seen two major reveals and additions to kind of mutant X-Men lore in the Krakoan era. One being the advent of mutant magic and, making these advancements and combinations of powers that can can do more that are greater than the sum of their parts. We've also learned and been revealed about the increase in powers post-resurrection, about how the body, with the powers kicking in with a mind that has already accessed, used, and developed, that they come in stronger and are capable of more things.
It's like
It's
Richter like in a game
been
where
resurrected at least once, right?
Right.
So, okay, we do have
Wait, was he?
potentially...
Hold on. Was Richter resurrected at least once?
Or did he survive and Apocalypse got resurrected?
Yeah, he hasn't.
Remember when
Richter
they both
hasn't
got
died
poisoned?
yet.
Richter hasn't died yet. Okay. I know him and Apocalypse were like laying on deathbeds near each other, like holding hands and shit, while Healer was working on him after they got poisoned.
Oh,
at the
yeah.
beginning of X of
But
Swords.
and Apocalypse was like, no, make him fight. Yeah, you're right. He didn't die.
So he survived, and then Apocalypse was the one who had to get resurrected.
Yeah, because he
Yeah,
got
you're right.
stabbed. He got stabbed at the beginning of
And then-
right? That's when he
So
died.
he didn't have. So he doesn't have that new unlock. He doesn't have that next.
Wait, and
level
then even
unlock yet.
taking it a step further back, right? Richter was one of the mutants that lost his powers on M Day, correct?
Mhm.
And then I believe he got his powers back. Was it through Scarlet Witch or was it through Quicksilver shenanigans? Like
Quicksilver shenanigans. He, like every other character who had more than 4 lines of dialogue before House of M,
right.
got his powers back through hand waving in the first 2 years post M Day.
I just
So,
waved my hands for the listeners
Yes.
at home that couldn't see my
Yes.
mystical maneuvers.
It is kind of a letdown to then say Richter just unlocked or did this thing we hadn't seen before or is now King of the Druids, when we also have in place, like, we should kind of be using those lores like you're saying, like all the mutants are gathered. Petra and Black Tom and everyone are at the gala. Like
Mondo,
he should be
like we
going and
literally
getting-
have seen
yes.
Mondo there. Like he would have been.
He should be going and getting these people, or there should be something involved. Like we should be getting one of those.
And it would just strengthen the whole concept of Richter as the heir to Apocalypse's, grimoire and his like esoteric, knowledge. For Richter to like pick that up and be like, yeah, this is my shit now. I'm gonna
And
read
he
this.
like
He
designs.
would be the
he
one.
draws out a data page and is designing a mutant circuit. Of how to...
Exactly. That's what I want to see. I want to see Richter with like post-it notes and strings like, oh, and what if we tied these 6 people together? And what the fuck could we do with, you know what I mean? Like he's one of the ones that should be breaking new ground with mutant magic. If he's going to be, the next Apocalypse as far as like the big bad of magic. Like, and we just, I don't know. The whole druid thing is really, really, really pushing it for me. I'm not into it. I like the aesthetic. I would 100% be behind it if it was an Otherworld thing. Like that would be kind of fun. Like every time Richter goes to Otherworld, it's like, oh fuck, and when I come here, I'm the king of the druids. I'm like that would be cute and it would be fun and it would make sense. But this just felt like the most Ghost in the Machine, Deus Ex Machina, like just little plot device and stupidity, and it really took me out of the story.
Yeah, it was too much tagged on to another chapter of the Hellfire Gala. It was like Excalibur didn't want Excalibur. This issue of Excalibur was very much Richter in the beginning. This whole entire issue did not want to be at this fucking party, and it reminded us of that like throughout the issue, and then gave us too many plot beats to like.
So one of the things that I'm kind of remembering back to too, and these are some of the conversations we had when Excalibur first started, was the fact that this team really was like, this was Teeny's D&D party that she was making up, right? With and Richter's the druid,
Yep.
and
Betsy's the knight.
Gambit's the rogue, not Rogue, but
Gambit
she
might
has,
have been,
but she brings a character named Rogue into her party. Like it's there was in play on what she was doing here, and so really embracing that druid aspect is one that kind of worked for me. Not as much in this. Like it was very rushed, and the Riddler costume has some drawbacks.
That's still killing me. I didn't see it till you mentioned that. That's.
I mean,
awesome.
yeah, you said it, and it's like, yeah, it's been staring us in the face the whole time.
So we do have some other things happen in this as well. We do get a big Hellfire Gala overall movement with the Clan Akaba.
Wait. Before we even get to there, but talking about Clan Akaba, another thing that really
High Priest and Priestesses
really stuck in my craw this issue was when what's this guy's name? Ambassador Brousseau,
Yes.
when he informs, Emma and Charles and Betsy basically
That's the
that
scene that I wanted to go to. Yes.
yeah, that we're doing the, Krakoan Brexit.
Excalibur.
Brexcalibur. Thank you, Brexcalibur. Emma Frost. Nowhere on Earth, in no possible timeline, does Emma Frost respond to the ambassador the way she did. Like,
So I felt that had to be like, because I felt the same way. Like, the fact that Emma was visibly surprised and shook and had an outburst has to mean something. Like, because that's not Emma. That, like, either that's a major mischaracterization fuck up, or it has to mean something.
Or she like maybe it was Mystique.
I mean, I think Mystique is behind getting the logic crystals here from Shi'ar Space potentially, but like, no, I think
Mystique's up to some shenanigans.
Mystique's up to some shit. I think Mystique is gonna. Well, we'll get into that, I guess, at some point. But this
He's
to
gonna
me,
have a big day in one of these issues.
this
coming
felt
up.
like just a gross mischaracterization of Emma Frost. Like, it just felt like you're doing the least you could do with Emma. If you're gonna have Emma at that table, if you're gonna pull her from the festivities to have her be the one next to Charles for that moment, do it with purpose. Like, let her read a bitch. Let her.
But now she is in diamond mode. She's in diamond mode.
Oh.
So she's getting no reads on anyone.
I don't know.
But
I think we're kind of.
Emma's been a chess player 3 moves ahead of everyone this entire gala.
Exactly.
The fact that these Brits who are aligned with really, really bad guys that we know are causing trouble and are telegraphing their moves like across the room shouldn't be surprising her like this, unless it's like a faux outright. Like, I don't know. Like, that's why I want to believe this means something, because my first thing was like, the fuck, because if it doesn't, then it's a gross mischaracterization.
That's just not Emma Frost's tone. That's not the way she would respond to these grimy little flat scans coming here and trying to like upend her party. She wouldn't be like, I beg your pardon. And then like when she's clocking them on the drugs, he cuts her off to tell him, don't worry, we're returning your shit. We don't give a damn. And like, she has nothing to say. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like, you're not just in her presence, you're at her fucking party. Like, she's not gonna, it's Emma Frost. Like, I expect a verbal evisceration from her, not her just to sit there and let the humans fucking read her, and she just sits there like a dumbass. Like, complete malpractice, Tinny Howard. I give you a demerit on that one.
unless we get some sort of retro reveal that she's leading them on to play something, then yeah, I have to agree. Now, what I was a little surprised by was Pete Wisdom after this going down.
I enjoyed that. I'm sorry. I am not a Pete Wisdom fan. Seeing Pete Wisdom like constantly, consistently just trashing mutant culture. Like, he has no time for Krakoa. He doesn't want to be at their filthy Green Lagoon. Like, he's just so above it. And he's so busy brown nosing to the fucking racist flat scans. Like, I'm not a fan of Pete Wisdom, never have been, and watching him like tap dance and follow these guys and like, okay, bye actual mutants, I'm gonna go with the racist guys in the cloaks. What could possibly go wrong?
I feel like he's double agenting. Like I feel like he's knowingly like he's going along because he's the only mutant who has an in. I do feel like his allegiance is to Betsy and the mutants. I was more intrigued by him going down so quickly because I feel like a mutant with powers like Pete's and a bunch of humans on him should be able to fight his way out. So
right, or at least make a few, take a few chunks out of them for sure.
Is this like these are all humans and now we're seeing the way mutants kind of have to take the L? Like, is this Pete restricted by kill no humans, and so when he's swarmed by a bunch of humans who are going to kill him, he's got to take the L because he can't.
No,
but why does he call out? He calls out to mommy.
Am I overthinking? Am I overanalyzing? I don't know.
You're giving a pass
by this scene. I did not like this scene. Felt awkwardly constructed in that sense.
No, but we've already seen kill no human, but maim who you got to. Like,
so we have more mischaracterization badly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was bad. It was. I appreciate appreciate that it was a sacrifice. I appreciate that he went down with the ship. Like I appreciate that his bullshit of like kissing Clan Akaba's ass basically blew up in his face. I'm into all of that, but I totally agree with you. It was like in 3 panels he got stabbed and you're like, really?
Yeah, he was the most powerful person in the room, and it was just surprising to see him go down so quickly like that.
This is what aggravated me. Like, I've had issues with Excalibur from the beginning. It's been harder for me to connect with, which is aggravating because Gambit and Rogue are 2 of my favorite people. And it's just been. I'm only recently getting more into fantasy stuff in regards to like the genre, and it's just been harder to connect. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm all caught up in X-Men now, and I had like 4 or 5 issues of Excalibur to read, and they were really good. The last several issues of Excalibur have been really, really on it, and then this one, and I've been so excited for this gala and the other issues of the other gala event issues. I've been impressed with, and this just was like, this just didn't do it for me, and it was kind of a bummer. And it's the mid, like Josh said earlier, it's the midpoint of the event. Like it's not a red issue, but we're at an important point structurally where like moves need to start being made, and the only moves that were made in regards to the series outside of the event. And so I just don't get it.
I completely agree with you, and I think the way I look at it is Excalibur is the box of chocolates of the X line. You literally never know what you're gonna get. Like, and sometimes it sucks. Sometimes you're just like chewing on it, like, oh, okay, I guess I won't spit it out. And other times you're like, fuck, this is so good. Like that
Yeah.
Malice issue was so
Now, and that Malice issue
good.
was 2 months ago, but that was the last issue we had of this, and that is one of my favorite issues of
That's my
all
favorite
of
Excalibur.
Pox era.
Yeah, favorite Excalibur
So
for sure.
yes, there's definitely. I mean, it's not going to be as good as that. There's some problems with this, and look, we see that a lot of times when when stories have to tie into crossovers or events that they're not necessarily ready or want to.
Mhm.
Could Teeny have done better? Yeah, but we do have 3 other little things to talk about. So let's start with Blake's favorite people here, Gambit and Rogue, because we're going to get a big change to this book coming up. As we see in X-Men 21 that came out this same week, Rogue is one of the new members of the X-Men, and so she will be leaving Excalibur. Although Gambit's going to stay around with his cats, because cats are magic. And while we're on this, just to say real quick, I love Gambit's Hellfire Gala. He reminds me very much of the guy at Pride who wears belly shirts because he knows he's shredded and loves everyone seeing it. And that's Gambit here, and I love it. He is such a himbo kept house husband man, and he loves it, and he's happy with it, and I'm happy for him.
Yeah, I love the they're like, well, what are you gonna do? He's like, I'm gonna hang out with the cats. In
That-
Otherworld.
That at least was funny. I appreciate that she at least like is calling it out. Like, yeah, guys, I know that's all I've done with him. And
But did
you know,
say he's got plans. I was very intrigued by that.
yeah.
He mentions like he's not going to go back to Krakoa. He's going to stay in the lighthouse. And I was like, oh, what's that mean? So that means something.
And so
Who knows?
talk about
Let's
it.
see.
So we have-
Let's see what that means. Like, remember when Gambit stole a magical deck of cards from Otherworld, and that never turned into anything?
It's true.
Maybe those are like the plans. Maybe he's like
Maybe.
something's gonna happen with that. Who knows?
All right, so we have Gambit has something. Gambit will be on the team. Rogue is not, and Gambit has plans. We also learn in another little side detour that felt way too short. We learned that Megan Braddock is pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah, so shout out to everyone who got excited seeing Megan on the cover of an upcoming issue and thought, oh, we're going to get some Megan. She's going to join the team. That's going to be awesome. Nope, sorry, guys. She's going to get pregnant and have another baby. Which, yes, I know that doesn't take her out of the story. Maybe there will be something interesting, blah, blah, blah. But I don't think it bodes too well for the character.
No. Well, I mean, it not that it. I wouldn't say it doesn't bode well, but I mean, she's not gonna be in any fight scenes. I don't think anytime soon. Like,
Probably not. And then thirdly, my favorite page of this issue.
Betsy and Rachel.
Betsy and
That
Rachel.
was good.
And I'll be honest, right? I cannot tell you, I can't look at girls and tell you someone's a top the same way I can with guys. But Rachel is very clearly a top, I think.
Oh,
I think
100%. Yeah.
Right. And I love her asking Betsy to dance and leading and dragging her out so much. And then we get the final line of this page where Betsy invites her to come around the lighthouse more. Rachel, it misses you. I won't go on the record now as saying that as this team reforms in the next range here with Rogue leaving, I think that Rachel, with X Factor being canceled, Polaris moving to the new main team, Rogue moving to the new main team, I'm going to say Rachel comes back to Excalibur and is in this book now.
I hope so. I mean, I think that's, that would be a better solution than Rachel just being in limbo. I haven't given up the ghost that X Factor is not gone. Either I pray that another title is announced, like they're going to do an X Factor Part 2, and I would love to see the same creative team. But failing that, I think X Factor could continue existing kind of like the 5, where they pop up in different books. I think they still serve a purpose, but I think they could also continue on as a team, maybe without Rachel, and Rachel joins Excalibur. I would love to see that. I think one thing I want to talk about this page, and this was, quite a bit of discourse on X Twitter, is the whole idea of this being queer baiting, right? Like that these characters are not canonically, they're not kissing on panel, and so this just feels queer baiting. And I 100% appreciate that your mileage may vary, and everybody's read on something is just as valid as anyone else's, and whatever you bring to it, that's totally fine.
Okay.
But I would also like to say sometimes I think that we could all benefit from being a little more patient with some of the writers. And I realize the ridiculousness of talking about let's be patient with making Rachel bi or gay because she's been around for 40 years or whatever. But if Betsy and Rachel had just kissed on panel in this page, it would have felt so abrupt and so forced, and that to me would have felt a little more like,
do you guys feel that you guys feel that Teenie is seeding a Betsy Rachel romance? Because I didn't feel that at all.
No,
I just felt that they're both bi, and they're really old friends, and
right, yeah. There was there was a flirtiness, but yeah, I agree that it is more friends, and I also agree and this is something that just part of the queer community. You can be friends, and also there can be a different level of affection that you're able to express without it being weird.
I mean, just because there's two bi characters near each other or dancing doesn't necessarily mean that it's queer baiting or romance.
No,
I felt that this was platonic.
I agree. That was the vibe I got off it. Then I entered the discourse and saw all these people, and at first I was like, come on, you guys, that's such a reach. But it's good, I think, sometimes to sit with some other opinions in your head and just let it marinate. And I came out the other end and I'm like, that I get it. If that's your read on it, if you're frustrated because Kate, kissed a girl and we haven't even revisited that since, and there's all these things don't exist in a vacuum. It's kind of like a cumulative thing. I think there's some validity to that. But again, just
I really like this notion. So listeners who may not know, I'm a boring straight white vanilla male, okay? And these moments don't bother me at all. I didn't even feel and not once in any of these X-Men issues have I felt that forced ideologies and stuff and politics has been pressed on me. I've seen mentioned on Twitter, these people have sticks up their asses, and I just think these are good stories. And I think that this new age of X-Men, I really enjoy this notion of more openness, open love, open relationships.
Yeah.
It's like the hippie free love movement, man.
But let's be fair. Danny and Shan are fucking in New Mutants.
100%. And I don't think that would be.
And Cyclops are fucking on the moon, and I'm here for it, man.
But that one feels like, why aren't they kissing? That one feels like queer baiting, even if Vita is a member of the queer community.
But I don't for me, Danny and Shen, I don't think could be any clearer that they're together right now. I don't know. And again, yes, if they're that together, then why isn't it just on the panel? Yes, they're together. So again, your mileage may vary. I think it is super explicit that Danny and Sean are together, but
Yeah,
you know,
I've been getting those vibes.
but I appreciate that for some people it's not explicit enough. And like, you know, I just urge everybody take a step back. There's so much good shit happening. It's such a
There
good,
is.
fertile environment for storytelling. And just, you know, hang in there. Like, have faith. These writers, you know, heads and hearts, I think, are in the right place. I think they're fairly keyed into to the fan base, and you know they're giving us some service. So just hang in there. I think something will come of this. I don't know if it'll be
We have
romantic or not, but like
7
lesbian
parts.
Rachel is inevitable because she's
Yes.
already on the page. Like
Yes.
it's just hang in there. It's coming.
Yes, I agree. And we have 7 chapters left in the Hellfire Gala that are going to throw some, you know, turmoil and changes into our world. We're having a new X-Men team. We're gonna have some book shuffling, right? We're gonna see the. I still do not understand. Like, if they have me sold and happy that like, okay, X Factor needs to end because it doesn't have a place in the story after the end of Hellfire Gala, and clearly we need to be telling some other story, I will be fucking shocked because
Yeah.
X Factor felt like one of the most important lore books. That whole first issue had the promise of so many redacted laws that were going to be slowly revealed over years of stories, clarifying and streamlining the resurrection protocols. We were going to get all of those protocols redacted and revealed, and we haven't had not one since the first issue have we seen a gone back to that redacted list. And yeah, that is such an important part. It was also giving us the 5. We were getting so many big major parts of this new world. I'm not over that being done.
No,
but,
yeah, the cancellation of X Factor has radicalized me. Like I don't fucking get it. Like we showed up, we bought the issues, like number 1, you know, on Comixology the weeks it would come out. Like what the fuck? I need an answer from Marvel of like why it happened, and I need them to stop being coy about what's coming next. I get that they're going to be a big part of the trial of Magneto. I get that, you know, maybe logistically, like it for the flow of the story, it made more sense to like not have X Factor issues coming out during the trial of Magneto, but goddamn.
Yeah, is that it? Is X Factor going to restart after the trial of Magneto?
I
Because
could see
I'm
that.
okay with
I
that, but then
pray
don't
to
fucking
God.
act like it's canceling,
Because
because
she's writing it, right? Leah's writing
Yeah.
the trial, right?
Leah's writing the trial, but like even if it is coming back, like that's the other thing, and I don't want to sound like a spoiled brat, but like I want very specifically for Leah to be writing it and David to be drawing it.
they're
Period.
such a great team.
Period.
Yeah, they're good. They're
They're
very good
such a
together.
good
Great
team,
book.
and they have so much love for these characters, and they were obviously doing so much. Hell, we didn't even get our first harvest of the body farm or whatever that Prodigy was growing in the boneyard. Like they were doing stuff that was going to pay off in the long term, and to have them just, you know, stopped at 10 issues is an absolute crime.
Agreed.
Hashtag save X Factor.
Hey guys, if you like that cut from X's for Podcast, you'll be sure to like some of our other materials. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out these other amazing videos here at X's for Podcast.